We are jumping in while I got time. Klearing came to mind, and the premeditative part of this, autumn showed up, leaves showed up, so all in summer showed up, so there's something maybe between fall and summer, or the work that you're supposed to be doing between fall and summer, or that you have been doing. It's all about clearing stuff out, eliminating stuff, aligning things. We've got a couple more days, I think, until all the planets align. Just before jumping on here too, I had the thought, today just feels like deja vu. The whole day is kind of just felt like that. There's just this sense of overwhelming familiarity. And I got to talk to my dad for a couple of hours, and that was very, very clearing. I just feel a lot lighter, and I think more at peace after that. So we'll look at what you're clearing, what needs to be cleared, how to clear stuff. I'm just gonna kind of pick randomly. I don't know, we're kind of like in the midst of my creative stuff here. So my focus is a little, I wouldn't say distracted, but very visual. So articulating things at the moment I think is going to interesting. But we're talking about clearing. This one comes up. This is out of the Conjure deck. So I guess we're just gonna go and kind of and then look at the uncommon as well. See. Eight spades, strange bed. Making the bed. We're making the bed this morning. I had thought to myself, when I do this for function, not for the aesthetic. It doesn't really look made. But there's a function. Old tales say that if you sleep in a strange bed, what you dream will come true. Maybe there's something in here too about dreams. My dreams have been pretty intense lately too, and typically when there's like these, do we call them like time segments of intense dreaming, it cues to me that there is a big change about to happen, or something, like a big shift or something that's about to occur. And I feel like it happened sometime between yesterday and today, or today the scales kind of tipped. The TikTok part of things is kind of ironic, but I think there's like a it's a clearing. There's all this personal individuation stuff that needs to be cleared out and released and let go, so community can happen. Clearing for community. Releasing what no longer serves. You made your bed, you'll have to lay in it. This card says exactly that, specifically in regards to bad habits, high tempers, or shouting, alcoholism, and other addictions. This card shows that whatever follows is set to happen unless the ways are changed. So the clearing and releasing bad habits, toxicity, clearing and releasing all the things that are put in place there to distract you from your own authenticity. Yesterday we had mentioned too, where there's like this focus on readjusting the environment. Or like a synergy. So if you change something in the environment, something in you changes. If something in you changes, something in the environment changes. Karma. I think karma showed up yesterday too. The bed is made. This can be in regards to an addiction or simply how a situation will play out. Like we're clearing the debris to get a clear picture of the path to take. So I think one of my other aha moments today in the shower was I'm at a point in the stage in life where I have almost an overwhelming amount of maybe opportunities or directions I could take. We closed off yesterday at a crossroads too. So at this crossroads and at this middle ground, there's a lot of different directions I could go. And to some extent or another, I had previously set goals to get myself to here. Not necessarily to here. I felt like my goals wanted to put me over here, but everything went over here. But this is the path that's meant to go, not the path that I want to go. So there's something kind of about this too, but there's an option, or there's that story. I can't think of the blues artist, where there's like the lore. This is a deck out of the Appalachians, and maybe this is kind of centered around the same area, where there's lore, like once you reach a crossroads in your life, this is where the devil shows up. And the devil will show up to make a deal. If this is what you want, sell me your soul and you can go down that chosen path. Then the repercussions in the long run is you're not walking your path, you're not walking your soul's path, because you've given that away, or you've given that power away. So we're clearing out the illusions, so that when these false offers are presented, we can have a more clear understanding of where to go and what to do. With this is like bed rest too. And so when we're sick and we're bedladen and we shift our focus onto clearing virus, bacteria from the body, there's a purging and a release that emphasizes health and good habits. And it's very important to rest and to slow things down a bit, or to rest in that space to be able to make more informed, conscientious decisions. Like clear, sorry, chair squeaky, like clear-headed decisions. It shows a way out and a light at the end of the tunnel. Like this just isn't the bed you're meant to die in. There's something here maybe too about the psychosomatic components of it, where our belief systems and ideologies about who we think we are and where we should go play out in physical ways. so that if you are not on your path or in alignment with that, it can literally make you sick, literally make you ill. Clearing things out. The ceremonial aspects of putting things to rest, of burying things, that kind of came out yesterday too. Clearing things through ceremony, creating markers, honoraries. I don't want to say like killing the things that no longer serve us, because that might plant wrong kind of ideas in people's heads. But if something is trying to go, what are you doing in trying to make it stay? There's a control factor there, and keeping something alive longer than it needs to be. And it's not so much that it's like, you gotta go. It's more like planting seeds, alchemizing things, burying things. Throughout the southern Appalachian Hills, 3 crosses deck the hillside next to billboards advertising ginseng, car insurance, and church messages such as "Hell is real." The folks of Appalachia have long looked to Calvary for their salvation from poverty, pain, and illness. That's funny too. Okay, so they're talking about Calvary to resolve this, and then in our reading yesterday, the symbolism of the horse came out. Horses being relevant, horse energy, and whether you want to take that literally or not. Shows a completion of plans or events coming to a close. It's a 9 cycle. I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, we're kind of like at the end of the performance. And after the performance ends and the lights turn on, then the people have to clear out. And then once the people clear out, then there is another cleaning process that comes along, where like their garbage and the remnants of the people are cleared out and cleaned, and then everything is reset for the next performance. And so we're at this point where the people are walking out of the performance, and the cleaners are coming in, and they're clearing it out. Good things to come after long period of hard work and bearing your cross. Spiritual pat on the back. So okay, so like if you've been doing the work, releasing the things that no longer serve you, aren't healthy to you, or whatever, right? Here's your opportunity to benefit. There's a trust in a cycle, and it's more like a perfect timing thing, or a timing thing. So if you're at this crossroads and it's dark and the devil shows up and you're in fear, you're going to be tempted to take the deal to get you to where you want to go the quickest, not being able to see that there might be another path or another direction that leads you there, that's that preserves your soul. I keep getting shown messages to where we're at this point in time where things are shifting. So, I mean, if things have been really good for a really long time, things are going to be bad. And if things have been really bad for a long time, things are going to start to get good. So if you've been controlling things and trying to preserve something or an image, or trying to maintain something that's not ultimately in the highest good of the community or the collective, that cleaning crew is going to come along and clear it out regardless. You're going to have to start over. One way or another, we're starting over. And a lot of people don't want to start over. They're very attached to the way things are, or have been. That's kind of all they know. Or their identity is very much based around this. And so there's like a, I want to call it like a force or something, some greater force out there that is at play. We'll just leave it at that. A tiresome ordeal with seemingly no end. It's not meant to be. It's just not meant to be. And that other card that we're talking about, Klearing, that comes on top of this is our cedar card. Cedar used to clear, used to smudge. So using the energetic tools again. So once you eliminate the people who no longer serve you in life, and once you clear out their residual garbage that is no longer there, the next part of cleansing or clearing would be to clear out the energetic field and the energetic space, the spiritual part of it. So from that, these are all clubs. Then there's the 4 of clubs, with the dawning of a new day, preparation for fields. The clearing has a lot to do with preparation. Preparation is a big theme that's there. So in order to prepare for the new cycle, the new thing, the new shift, the new start, there has to be clearing. You have to out with the old and with the new. And again, the deja vu and the dream, that part of it, there's like here we are again. The plowed field. I mean, if you're going to clear a field, right, and get it ready for planting, then you got to plow your field, clear out the spiritual components of it, right? Clear out people, the garbage, clear out the spiritual energy, and then clearing the earth. Clearing the earth to be able to plant seeds, to be able to harvest. Which, like a farmer ready to plant, the 4 of clubs shows that the ground is ready for what you're planting or planning for the future. The work has been done, and now we wait for the fruit. However, stay with the upkeep. So like once you clear it out, you have to keep clearing it out. Like you don't just vacuum your house once and then it's forever clean. You have to, weekly, daily dishes, and it's a process. You have to keep up with it. And so building good habits of keeping things clear, keeping things clean. I tell my son all the time, cleanliness is godliness. You want to get closer to spiritual connection. It's very important to be clean, physically, mentally, spiritually. Stay with the nasty upkeep. Nasty weeds can pop up and smother your crops if you don't stay on top of it. But also to that too, when you clear things out and when you plant new seeds, there's this whatever other story, this came up at some point or whatever, the deja vu part. The story. So farmer comes along and plants his garden, and the neighbor, being envious or jealous or whatever, wanting to have the biggest crop, comes along at night and plants weeds in with his seeds, so that as the plants start to grow, these weeds are starting to grow, and the farmer's like, where did all these weeds come from? But he can't, at one point or another, pull the weeds, because in pulling the weeds, you disturb the soil and you disturb the root integrity of the plants that you have. So you don't get to clear out those weeds until the harvest is there, and then once you harvest, then you can clear the weeds. You can't just come along and clear everything, because somebody might have put something there in the way, anticipating you to come along and clear it, but there's like a sabotaging energy or something like that, where if you do clean it, then it looks like you're self-sabotaging. So if you don't clean it and you stay, dare I say, like naive to it, or you pretend like, I'm just gonna play stupid with it, then the harvest still comes, and the person's attempts to sabotage your work are fruitless. They can come along and they can plant weeds in your garden, but it's not going to prevent your fruit from growing or prevent you from being able to harvest what you need to. There's just going to be more work for you to do at the end of the harvest, because at the end of the harvest, you're going to have to clear out all of that stuff too. So at one point or another, it's going to need to be cleared, but you have to be mindful of the timing in clearing things. Because if you impulsively come along and then just eliminate everything, there might be something you've eliminated that you're going to need later. I don't know, maybe organize it into categories or stages or something like that. That keeps the maybes, the whatever, and the unsures, and then just kind of allow things to naturally fall off as you realize they're not necessary for the work that you need to do, or accomplish what you need to do, and then eliminate the rest. You're not going to be able to take it all with you anyway in the long run. In that clearing things too, I mean, if things are too clear and things are barren, there's nothing there for you anyway. So you're gonna have to physically change your environment. You're gonna have to go somewhere else and do something else in order to make it work, because there's just the soil isn't good, or there's just not like a like fertility issues. So I don't know if you're having fertility issues or issues with they say too that if somebody is not meant for us, our bodies will reject them before we in our minds know to do that. So listen to your body, because your body is telling you to eliminate something, probably from your diet or your routine. It's just it's fighting the mental part of it. Like with cigarette addictions, it takes 3 days for the nicotine to get out of your body, and then the addiction after that is all psychological. So there's like the biological addictions, and there's the psychological addictions, and the triggers and the stressor. So like, what's the function? You always ask yourself, what's the function? There's the mole again, the Joker and the mole. Look at the mole. It's all clubs. What are clubs telling us here? You need to do a clearing kind of across the board, mind, body, spirit. Clear things out, mind, body, spirit. There's all sorts of tips, tricks, ways to do it. It's not necessarily like there's a right or a wrong way. What works for somebody doesn't necessarily work for somebody else. but you'll know. Muscle response testing is a good way to get into the body, right? Like your body will tell you yes or no. You can do muscle response testing if you're curious. You can do it on yourself, especially if you're uncertain. So the mole, the twin of the two of hearts. The mole deals deeper in business and social life. Here the two of clubs shows a handshake or an agreement and new things coming in the distant future. Also speaks of secrets being kept, disappointments, opposition to your attempts. The mole has a strong nose, and when it's down, it can also indicate someone or something that is best to be avoided. Deep, dark secrets. Things are going to come to the surface. I mean, if you've planted a bunch of weeds, I mean, eventually those weeds are going to grow, and then, you know, you're going to know which neighbor did it. Because they have a specific type of seed or something like that, or, you know, that one weed only grows in that one neighbor's yard, so how would they? And the Joker. So, deep, dark secrets to look out. The devil's about. I told you, we're at a crossroads. So there's going to be devious temptations trying to lead you astray and suck your soul. Black dog folklore has been abundant since the colonization of the Americas and long before that in Europe. They were said to be harbingers of death or even the devil in dog form. The card shows the presence of evil spirits, demons, haints, whatever you want to call them. Their intentions ain't good. It shows you with the red joker behind it. The spirit has been employed by another to do their bidding. It's not. Someone is knowingly or unknowingly doing the spirit's work. Ghosts and spirits can work your mind to do, say, or think things you never thought of. Careful. And then Jesus shows up on the crucifix. Staying in integrity despite these dark forces is very difficult because you can be the greatest, best in the world, but people are still going to come along and try and scapegoat you. Because of these kind of things. That's so frustrating. Okay, so this is a dark elderly man set in his ways and stubborn about everything. Although stubborn, he's a good husband and knows how to get things done. In contrast, this is the just judge. If this card shows in a reading, whatever bad comes before it ends with him if it is undeserved in the case of a curse sent against you. Okay, so, I mean, if you're doing the work and you're clearing the things out and you're, like, you know, you lie in the bed that you make. I'm going to dive into another deck, and then we'll go into the uncommon here for a minute, and we'll close it out. We're going to make this one really short today. Just because clearing is pretty obvious. It's a reminder for you, it's a motivation for you, because you know what you need to do. And so here's your confirmation that yes, you do need to do that. You need to get on it. Start by clearing the unnecessary thoughts in your mind. Start with what you can. Look into the uncommon to kind of see what we can do about it. But looking for innovative ways to do this. Uncommon ways to do it. We're trying to break out of the norm, right? We're trying to break the mold. The Queen of Coins. You'll have a lot of luck. And we've got a rabbit on here too. You'll have a lot of luck standing in your power and going through this. She's got her ruby hanging out, so there's an aspect here of nurturing. nurturing yourself, if you're nurturing yourself in all of this and caring for yourself and your creations and the things that you've planted, you'll find your luck. It feels like a completely energetic thing right now, where once all the planets align and the energy, the individual energy is out of alignment with everything else aligning, then that's going to be felt. So if your energy is aligned and all the planets are aligned and something syncs, then we can kind of like jump onto this new timeline somewhat effortlessly, right? It's like getting a hall pass to be able to get off the stairs and to be put on one of those like escalator floors or whatever, where it's just going to carry you along, so you don't have to struggle so much. Queen of Coins, luxury, fertility, creativity, and security. So getting into a space of creativity, getting into a space of safety, and being in that sort of mentality, creative stuff. It's healing, the creative process. It's a healing process. It allows you to deconstruct and reconstruct. It forms a mirror so you can see hidden components and hidden aspects to yourself. A fertile period for creativity. So perhaps if the body itself isn't fertile, the onus is on creating something outside of you instead of creating something inside of you. And the things that you create outside of you are important as far as collective healing, community healing, community education, Mother Nature. Everything you nurture blooms into life. Midwifery, a supportive, wealthy person with business acumen. Care for what you love, and what you love will care for you. Compassion and support. It just makes me think of this reel or something like that keeps showing up in my feed, where the guy is talking about how parents, be kind to your children because they're the ones that determine your retirement home. So we're talking about nurturing long-term relationships. Clearing out all the unnecessary junk so we can focus on long-term relationships. King of Wands. Well, the salamander kind of showed up, or the salamander was under one of the cards and the other one, and the salamander is showing up in this one too. Maybe I'll dig it out real quick and we can do a quick comparison. The lion is here. We talked about the lion yesterday, and the lion heart, and that needing to be brave through this fire and through this transformation. Being in your power. He's also got his solar plexus guarded, so keeping your solar plexus protected is going to be really important. And I've heard somewhere along the lines that anytime you attempt or threaten to take your own life, it creates a void or a vortex or some sort of like hole in your solar plexus where you're like, oh, I don't want this body anymore, I don't want to be in it. So your soul kind of checks out, and there's this empty vessel. So all these like dark, mischievous, whatever spirits that are looking to embody something, they're like, oh, look, a hole in an empty vessel, and they go whoop, swooping in there, right? And then they start driving the meat suit. So it is imperative to nurture yourself and be very kind to yourself and stay out of those destructive thought patterns. Those are implanted, those are conditioned, those are feelings that come from intense pressures of suppression, objectification. There's another word I'm looking for there too, it's not quite coming to mind. Oppression. Did I say that? I think that's the word. And people that are getting you to this point to make you feel like you're not worthy or you're not valuable or whatever, that's conditioned. And it's conditioned across many species. And when we see other species doing this, say like an animal in a zoo or something like that that is being mistreated, it's not your fault and there's help. Reach out for help, reach out to community. But I mean, even in that's difficult to do because there are weak support systems within the community that aren't going to be able to support you within that. So you're going to have to reach out to spirit or something even bigger and beyond you. That can take a lot of work. That can take a lot of energy. Okay, so here's our salamander. And here's our salamander. So let's see what the salamander is all about. 5 diamonds. Hellbender salamander. A totem of Appalachian folklore, the Hellbender was used by conjure folk in the mountains for many conjurations, including that of love and marriage, which is why it foretells such. If the subject of the reading isn't relationship based, it can also denote good luck. Okay, so that's important. Good luck, community, relationship, love, and it can just be unifying and bringing forces together. Although there's kind of like a harmonizing within that as well. Love within that. Marriages keep coming up. And I see this going 2 ways, or this playing out in 2 different ways, where on one hand, maybe in the more positive, idealistic way, there's a joining of union between those and the ceremony that goes to honor and recognize that. But again, what is the function? There are oftentimes people who get married not out of love, but for other reasons. Feels like clout, material support, or just because you're supposed to try and avoid any negative judgments for doing things outside of the norm. People put a lot of emphasis, let's say, on marriage. If you're able to get married by a certain age, or if you're whatever, then it somehow is supposed to imply or indicate maturity. And for somebody who, I'm almost 40, I've never been married. When you reach a certain age and you've never been married, especially if you have kids, people look at you like there's something wrong with you. And it's not like I haven't had offers before, not like, people haven't proposed to me before, like there hasn't been the opportunity for that. My reasons are very personal and very spiritual, and it's one of those things where, like, if that's what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do it once, and the function of it is going to be very deep. and hold a lot of meanings, and there's just something very sacred about that, and something sacred about that union. But what I think is important to avoid is in those unions, oftentimes we can lose parts of ourselves, or something can become less pure, ironically enough, when we're talking about or referring to aspects of, say, shamanism or religious base, or like nuns or whatever. There's purity there too. And I think when we're doing this intense, deep spiritual work, it's important to not be influenced by the energies of others in that sort of way. Say, unless that person is of the same caliber, and that unification serves a much greater purpose outside of that. There are people who want to get married just to say that they're married. Oh, I'm married, and oh, it's a status symbol, and oh, wow, ooh, you have this thing, and you get to join, like, the club. But there are relationships out there, and people who have these beautiful, harmonious relationships. I mean, even in polyamorous situations, where that love and that connection is even more pure and more community-based than it would be otherwise. So what's the function? Are you doing it just so you can brag about it? Or are you doing it to try and to, like, elevate yourself off of another person? Or is there an actual dedication to something much bigger and much more beyond you, yourself, and your partnership? I also feel like it's one of those status symbol things where I think it's ironic that the people who invest all this money into these elaborate ceremonies to try and be like, ooh, and get all the attention or whatever, oftentimes these are very short-lived marriages, where there's more emphasis on the material component of it. Whereas, say, like with my dad and my stepmom, they've been married for most of my life, 30 whatever years, and it was one of those, let's go down to the courthouse, we're gonna knock it out, and we're gonna honor that. And I've seen that in other situations too, where there's just like it's not about the material side of things, it's not about the ceremony, it's not about, you know, what you can get from friends and family members. It's about something beyond that. There's a commitment. I think there are a lot of people too who, especially if they're not authentic, and they're afraid to be alone. That showed up yesterday too, something about being in the alone space. It's codependency, and that's not healthy. But that's what people do. There's the devil card again. She's got the wings in the back of her as well. Temptations. Because again, we're at this crossroads, and yes, all these things can happen, but if you've made the deal to get yourself to that fame and fortune, like that blues artist, why can't I think of his name? You know, and the story with the blues artist, I mean, he was a shit musician, And he goes for a walk late one night. He comes to this crossroads, and at the crossroads he meets the devil, and he makes a deal. I'll give you my soul, and you give me fame and fortune. And he turns around, and then the next day, he's playing like nobody's business. Like, people are like, wow, how did you get so good so fast? How did you get all this popularity? And I think that in the long run, his life was shortened. His life expectancy was shortened. There was, sure, you can have the fame, fortune, the power, but again, if you were taking and manipulating or whatever, very solely focused, you can have all of that, and it's never going to be enough. 2 coins, having to find a balance within that emotional stuff. 2 cups is here too. There's our lion friend here as well. And even in the alchemist, she's got these 2 different components and things pouring kind of into each other, so you can live in the light and the dark. You can find balance with 1 foot in the dark and 1 foot in the light, and step in that. One ultimately will bring you back to the other. Both of them ultimately bring you back to yourself, into this neutral point, into the space of authenticity and growth and evolution. Let's look at the Alchemist card. It's a 14. It reduces to a 5 as well. And here we are at this 5 point, and the 5 is the crossroads between the 1 and the 4, and the 6 and the 10, or the 6 and the 9. And it's that physical action space where spirit meets body, and these things come together and they unite into one singular force, and they drive. Alchemist. Alchemy keeps popping up, and it's the whole creative process. This is interesting. I'm not exactly sure where to find it in here, because it's not a standard or traditional deck, so give me a moment. There you are. Alchemist, what process are you in? What stage of transformation are you in? What are you clearing? Are you eliminating? Are you in the process of clearing things out of your mind? Are you in the process of detoxing the body? Reconnecting to your spiritual purpose? Balance, temperance, moderation, harmony, peace, alchemy. We talked about peace yesterday. We talked about temperance yesterday. Temperance showed up as one of our first cards yesterday as well. This is what we're looking for, is peace. We are striving for global peace. We are striving for internal peace. So why are people still fighting? Why are people resisting? Why are people still trying to control the outcome? Peace is both of us at peace. Peace isn't you get something and I get nothing. Or I get something and you get nothing. It's not peace. That's not temperance or balance. Healing begins. So we're clearing things out so healing can begin. We're creating so healing can begin. We are talking about all of this and transformation in the Homo Lumis because we consciously are getting ourselves to this point where we are capable of self-healing. In the realm of the health industry, a doctor can only do so much for you. They do such a small percentage of your healing. The rest of the healing is up to the individual and their mindset. And I've seen, witnessed, heard, talked to people who have overcome some incredible challenges. A shamanic teacher who healed herself of brain cancer. Another man that I met at an IONS conference who amazing musician, got in an accident, became a paraplegic, and through the vibration of his own voice and sound, walks. Can not fully, but what people told him was impossible wasn't impossible for him because of his belief systems and because of his connections with vibrations. Like when you understand these, I mean, the body is intelligent, the DNA is an intelligent thing. Its function is to create and to heal. Environmental factors and toxins and all this other stuff outside of it is what destroys. Healing begins. You have a choice. Once you're aware you have this choice, you have this choice. A lot of people choose to stay ignorant, or they don't want to put on, say, the spiritual goggles, so to speak. They don't want to put on these glasses, because once they put them on and they understand that, then they become responsible for that. And then they have to make a choice. But if you stay ignorant to it and you don't choose, and then it's like, oh, I did it, then it's like a lack of integrity. Recreate your life. Take your time and find your groove. Harmony is ahead. You're about to turn the you're about to turn the lead into pure gold. Remember to be moderate in your approach. The heaviness will be lifted. It's going to shift. You just have to trust it. The other side of this is talking about how when nothing is coming together and things aren't fitting together, there's a struggle to make things work, only to realize that you can't force matters. So you don't always get to choose. You don't get to pick. You can't just make things happen just because you want it to happen. There are other influences and circumstances that are guiding you to something, say, even more impressive than you can imagine for yourself. And stay open to that. Because I think if you begin to limit yourself, say, oh, I want this, you fail to see all the other possibilities that are surrounding you. Step back and wait. Patience pays. Wait. Good things will come. Consolidate. Concentrate. Just be you. It's patience, and it's waiting, and it's like, I wanted to get a start on self-portraits on the 1st of the month. My kid got sick for 3 weeks, and it just wasn't possible. So you don't get to choose. You'll find your flow soon enough. You have to get into that space of harmonizing and receptivity and alignment. And once everything aligns and everything kind of whatever, and the environment adapts, and then we can go with it. But when we're in this void, or this shifting, say, from one aspect of leadership into another aspect of leadership, the laws maybe aren't in place, or the structures aren't in place in order to allow us to have the growth that we want anyway. 2 cups and 2 coins. Let's look at 2 coins. What process are you in? Maybe we can look at that a little bit more. Just checking time. Okay. Only got a little bit of time left, and then I gotta go pick up my little kiddo. 2 coins. Pardon me. This is talking about choices. Balance, flexibility, uncertainty. You don't have to know. You don't have to have an answer. I feel like there are a lot of people who are going to pressure you to that. Oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to be? What are you going to do? You have to have an answer. I need to know now. And it's just like, well, I don't really know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know exactly what all of this is supposed to look like. And I don't really know exactly what it is that I want. So instead of feeling the pressure to just choose something, I'll just pick blue. just so you go away and stop asking me, or so I can appease you or please you or whatever. Let's not get pushed into one of those situations. Take your time. I mean, this is long-term commitments here. This is having to think ahead and sit with yourself, meditate, close your eyes, get quiet, get silent, get still, and allow the noise and the monkey chatter to clear away so that you can hear or know. It's more of a knowing. Oh, aha, that's what it is. I woke up with that one this morning. That's what I'm gonna do. And it just like came to me. Sometimes you don't have to actively think about it. You can stick it in an incubator. Take that idea, I'll incubate it, I'll put it over here. And it'll, like the deja vu thing, it'll resurface. It'll show back up again. And it'll represent itself. And so when it represents itself, then you have an opportunity then to recreate or readjust or reevaluate, release, do it again, try again. That's kind of cool. Here, I'll show you. There's like sailboats, water, one out on the water, one just like crashing, but they're illusory. So these, say, fears or these emotional intensities are not real. Or the thing about fear, fear existing as something, or like whatever, something false appearing to be something real, even though it's not. Whatever that saying is. You're in a precarious position. Choices must be made, but it's not clear where things may lead. Flexibility is necessary. Test the waters. See where things take you. Juggle your responsibilities as best as you can. Try things out. I mean, that's why people date. You know, we're not living in a country of like arranged marriages or something like that. You have you can just see what it goes. Try something new. Be open to things before making the commitments. Take a test drive. Feel it out. Experiment with yourself and put yourself in new context, in new situations, new outfits, new environments. Go try something you've never done before and see what new ahas or insights come to you. And that's where creativity and innovation is born, because you're adjusting the function. Maybe it's like a literal function. Maybe you go to a function that you don't regularly go to. Poor choices lead to regrets. Finances are unstable right now too, which is making it really difficult to get ahead. So again, those external circumstances. It's really difficult to show up and innovate at work if you're hungry and you're not eating, or you don't have the resources for basic needs. And there's so many people who are in this situation right now because of our current economy, where again larger forces and things are kind of working against our better good as a collective, because someone out there is greedy and they want to have everything all to themselves or whatever. They're trying to control a populace, or they're trying to control an outcome, and it's creating this pressure that is almost forcing us to choose what we have to do. And when you are in this intense space of uncertainty, the choices that you make can have some pretty detrimental outcomes. And when we are pushed and we are pushed and 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 pushed until we finally blow, I think it speaks a lot to speaks a lot about our community and the culture and our values and all of that. Like with the guy who took out the CEO of the insurance company. When people are put in this space of desperation and pain for somebody else's gain, the consequences to that can be pretty intense. And in order to make a point, what do? And then who gets in trouble and why? And then what are the consequences to all of that? Let's look at Two of Cups. We'll look at this lion thing. Maybe a couple more here. I don't know. Maybe we'll pull out of the fairies next. I'm holding my head because I feel like somebody is in a lot of pain. Very depressed. Or you're not necessarily seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, this is a very difficult situation, and you can't dissociate and try to make it something else, or try to make it something that it's not. You have to make the best out of the situation. It's radical acceptance, and things are fucking messed up and whatever, and like, where are you at in the process? Where are you at in this journey? Acknowledge that, get a really clear picture of where exactly you're at, what the issues are, what the problems are, and then make your choices. If you're trying to disillusion yourself in any way, or deny something, or you're in denial, or you're whatever, then it's not gonna, the outcome won't be good for you. But if you're doing the work, you'll be fine. Trust that. Two of Cups, harmony. Again, harmony, relationships, cooperation and connection. Cooperation, I think, is really important here. I think people in America have a bad habit of disconnecting from reality. Disconnecting from truth, disconnecting from emotions, disconnecting from pain, disconnecting from things that are difficult. So connecting and creating connections with people can be intense and overwhelming if you're not clear on why you're connecting with the people you're connecting with. But if you can connect with somebody clearly and that communication is clear, amazing community stuff can happen. Cooperation is really important. How many people want to fight? How many people want to argue? How many people want to get their way? How many people are very locked into maintaining their own ideologies? And that cooperation can be very subtle. I think cooperation also comes out of a space of love. Or like, in having the conversation with my dad today, I mentioned to him that I'm working on getting my son assessed for autism, and I mentioned to him too that I also fit the criteria for autism. I tested incredibly high out of 240. I think I tested with like 206 on the scale. And in having that conversation with him, it was very natural. It was very organic. There was no judgment. There was no. I felt loved, seen, heard, validated. I felt like safe to be me, accepted. In trying to have these conversations with my mom, the first time I had brought it to her attention, I was, I don't know, 21 or 22 or something like that. And I figured it all out, and I sent her, this long list of all the reasons and all the things and all the whatever, like I just info dumped here you go. But it was dismissed. It was not acknowledged. It was, we ended up not talking, not speaking for 2 years. I didn't have any contact with her or her family. And, you know, years later, and then bringing this back up again or mentioning something again recently, there's the, like, the doubt. Are you sure? Do you have a diagnosis? Or, like, there's that, like, oh, no. That doesn't feel like cooperation. For example, cooperation doesn't necessarily just have to be working well together. I think there's a lot to be said about validation and acknowledging and seeing people for who they are and where they're at, instead of for what you want them to be or where you want them to be. It's a form of control and detachment and dissociation. Unification again comes through with this. Unifying this side and that side, masculine, feminine, dark, light, black, white, his, hers, me, yours. It's unification of all of these different things, and that makes sense. We're going into the Aquarian we age. It's the Aquarian age, so cool. Deepening of a partnership. Romance is in the air, compromise, learning to work together, telepathy, fluent communication, everyone is on the same page. Telepathy showed up yesterday too. I opened it up and it was just like, telepathy. I feel like in this space, I have a beautiful conversation with a couple of people. My son being one of them. He and I have always had a very telepathic connection, and I remember at one point, maybe he was 3 or so, because he's had speech delays and then language processing stuff. And so somewhere around 3, I remember telling him, having to have this conversation with him of, we have to talk out here now. We can't just talk up here. But still, all the time with him, there's just, we're very much riding on the same wavelength, and it's fucking beautiful. It's amazing. And then there's like 1 or 2 other people in there where they're definitely there. I mean, this happens all the time. I've even mentioned it before. I'll get a really strong, clear picture in my head about somebody, and basically I haven't talked to in a while or hasn't showed up in a while, and then all of a sudden, poof, there they are. That goes into the human evolutionary potentials too, the abilities to connect beyond with our full capacity of senses. I don't want to go too far into that right now. Fluent communication. Everyone is on the same page. We get into issues in relationships or lost connections, or relationships start falling apart when there's an inability to see eye to eye. Like when there's squabbles. Hacks heard that word the other day. He was like, squabble? What does squabble mean? Is squabble a real word? So yes, squabble is a real word. Divorce. If you cannot meet someone halfway, do not expect cooperation. There's also this thing too where, like, if you've been married before, don't get married a second time, or the second marriage isn't gonna work. I mean, it might for a little bit, but not in the long term. That's not to say that, you know, people's second marriages haven't lasted forever. I just feel like it's relative to the energy kind of in this space and time at this moment. I've just had a very strong guidance for maybe the last year and a half or two of don't marry for the second time, for whatever that is. See, there's our confirmation. Just don't do it. Let's see what else we have here. We're alchemizing things, we're changing things, we're figuring out how to cooperate. We're going from one state to another. We're building relationships. We're coming out of these isolated, alone spaces and building community. That's so much about what the astrological energy is right now too, is building community and community development and communities coming together. Let's do 2 more, 3 more. I'm leaving Wise One out here because Wise One is 5. We'll talk about that. There's some keys there maybe into all of this. Relationship dynamic, so I don't know, a solution or something here. For coins, I feel like this is going to show us what it is that we do need to clear out, what we are holding on to, the material things, the things that are keeping us down. There's our King of Wands again, 5 cups. This guy came out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This guy came out with 5 more cards. I don't want to talk about 5 more cards maybe quickly. I'm just going to quickly go through it. But I feel like this guy here and trying to manifest things and trying to create things from this lucky space or whatever, there's a lot of information here that he's trying to tell us. Maybe it has to do with this 4 coins over here. 5 coins. 5 coins pops up. Woman and her child. Okay. I think this one is just focusing on future generations, building harmonious relationships, creating that balance, finding the peace, nurturing the things that come after us, strong bonds between mother and child, or that urging to nurture, to care for something, carrying future generations on your back. Wise One pops up first. I just open it to Wise One, so we'll talk about that and kind of dive into this other stuff instead of waiting for it. But the Wise One says, what will you honor? What will you honor? Spirituality, tradition, wisdom, seeking knowledge, honoring the spiritual connection, connecting to honoring spiritual connection, spirit, mind, body, they all come into an alignment. There should be a prioritization on spirit, on energy, on frequency, before it comes down to this dense material, whatever stuff. But so many people want to go mind, body, spirit, or body, mind, spirit, or they want to kind of muck up the order of operations there, but they lose sight of what's most important. Seek wise counsel, ask for help, look for guidance. Hi, hello, thanks for showing up. You receive solid guidance at this time. Hi, hello, thanks for showing up. Honor traditions, honoring traditions, going in with ceremonies as well, not rituals, ceremonies, traditions of ceremonies, honoring the past. Traditions are really important. They connect us to our lineage and our history and our ancestors. There are reasons why people have been doing things a certain way for however many ages and epochs, whatever that we've been doing this for. So you can't deviate so far away from the norm that you're precluding tradition. But you can create new traditions too, new traditions for yourself and for family. Pay homage to the ancestors. See? Uphold the status quo. Rules and traditions serve a purpose when it comes to communities. Those rules, those laws, those codes, or whatever, they're really important. And if somebody thinks that they are above the law or outside of that, or they don't have to conform to or adhere to these spiritual codes, They just might not pick up everything for the rest of us. So it's important, I think, for the rest of us to hold those who fuck everything up accountable instead of holding the people who are pointing out what is fucked up accountable for other people's faults. But people are afraid to hold those people accountable because they're getting something out of it, or there's fear, or they're just they don't want to have to choose. I think the other side of this is really important too, because I think this is learning how to trust intuition and learning how to trust guidance. Because you can't always trust the people outside of you. And then if we're talking about something like shamanism, there's some very dark forces at play in some of those spheres. I won't go into that at this point. We're gonna have to create another space to dive into and explore what I've learned in that regard. Sorry, my chair's so squeaky. This is like, you see all the sheeple doing things wrong and nobody's listening. You're like, hey, there's a cliff over there. Nobody's listening. It's not going to behoove you to follow the crowd and walk off the cliff with them. Going your own way is important. Turning your back on the old traditions, like marriage. This whole like tradition centered around marriage, kind of, it's culturally specific. And somewhat outdated. So we're exploring something new there, forging new pathways. This talks about the corrupt spiritual leader. And we've seen this within churches, we've seen this a lot within spiritual communities, coaching gurus, there's all sorts of gurus, or there's all these different stories. I mean, even within like the Kundalini tradition, you get the guru who comes from another country who's, comes here and gets corrupted, and then it's all about money and this and that. Or when I was in grad school, there's this really strange guru that came to do a presentation for one of our intensives, and I just remember all this controversy kind of spinning around it, and the cultism that came out of it. And at one point there was like a group of us where he took us into like a side room, and we had to pair up, and we had to partner with somebody else, and it was back to back with another colleague of mine at the time. And I don't know what it is that he did or what he came along with and whatever, but there was like a woo, and there's just like a sensation of bright green that came all the way through my head. It was weird. I'd have to look back through my journals and my notes and stuff to get back into that memory a lot that I just kind of pushed off to the side of my mind. I mean, there's something even within that too, as far as like the initiation right into my own path into all of this. I was, let's just say, put in a position with somebody who claimed to be a shaman from Belize, where it was just completely violated. But I've never experienced anything like that, where somebody's come along and then touched something in the back. Touched something in the back of my neck, and my whole body was completely paralyzed. It was terrifying. So when we're talking about the corrupted spiritual guru, you have to be very, very, very discerning. Your own guides and your own clear connection, your own clear channel is going to give you the biggest insight and the biggest aha. Because there's so many people parading around as like something good, and I'm doing these things, but there's the hidden agendas. Oh, if I just call myself this, like one of the secrets or one of the things that floats around out there, whatever, one of the sayings is, a true shaman will never call themselves a shaman. The same. Or, I mean, I even my mentor when I was in art school. I was working at this phenomenal, beautiful art gallery. I had such an amazing, I had an amazing group of mentors, but one very specifically who said to me, your mentor will never call themselves your mentor. And she would never put herself in a position with me where she was ever like, I'm your mentor, you have to whatever. But she is one of my greatest mentors, and I admire this lady, and I esteem her so much, and I miss her. It's kind of like a big wave of emotion there. I'm missing a lot of people in my life now. I've gotten to travel quite a bit. Not a whole lot, but I've traveled enough, and I've been in places where I've just met just incredibly phenomenal, beautiful people. You know, and I've had to, you know, carry on, and they're there, and we've just, they're so far away, and I just miss them so deeply. I'm so grateful for those just beautiful, amazing connections that I've had in my life. They've saved me in so many ways. A guru is not necessary. You hold the keys to your destiny. You don't. There's not like a right path. There's not the one person. You have to become your own guru in this. You have to become accountable and fully independent of yourself, and just clear out these things or all these limiting things that are telling you that, or infusing in you this sense of, I don't want to call it self-doubt, but maybe unworthiness. Okay, I gotta start wrapping this up. 33:13. God, time flies here. I've got like maybe 15 more minutes or so, and then I gotta go. Otherwise, I could just sit here all day and talk into that. So thank you for the patience. I kind of have it in my mind to go back through some of these videos and then chop them up into smaller bits and whatever, but timing, focus, whatever. But I think that might be helpful. Okay, so this one, we're talking about control, security, miserliness, prosperity. So I mean, all the wealth in the world isn't going to make you happy. It's your relationships and the way you connect to community that is most important, and that's what's going to fulfill you. That's why there've been so many people throughout history who've been in complete poverty, but they are happy and ecstatic. And we hear all these stories of, you know, wealthy people who are just unhappy, or people who have it all but they're not happy. You've got everything you need at this time. Security is at hand, accumulated wealth. However, stinginess is present. Those who are tight with their resources tend to be miserly with love. Learn to share your blessings. There are a lot of people who use money to control other people, and that's not love. Or who use money to try and get something from other people, or they try to create these what's the word I'm looking for? Contingencies. Oh, I did this for you, so therefore you should do this for me. Or there's just like power imbalance that happens from that space. The other side of it, you know, I mean, if we're going to get over that, we have to let go of the need for control, share resources, a false sense of security. What seems to be a sure bet is an illusion. What are your true blessings? Where are you at on the path? What are your true blessings? What's really going on here? What's the authentic thing? Okay. We're sneaking through the dark, getting through these difficult things in order to harmonize things. The starter part pops up here as well. Four of Wands pops up here too. Harmonizing relationships, bringing things together. But getting through the darkness and getting through the difficulty and doing the work and clearing out all of these swords, clearing out all of this difficulty. She's got a smile on her face. She's being kind of careful. She's kind of tiptoeing through it all, or whatever. There's discernment and being very mindful in order to prosper, or to find the security within self and to be connected. She's like sneaking around, hiding, not in a bad way, but having to kind of like hide her true self in order to not upset people. But in stepping into the authenticity and grounding yourself into power and connection and relationships, there's security there. I mean, this one could be something else too, because we were talking about some deviant forces as well. Stealth, bravery, theft, getting away with something. Caught in a tricky situation. Cunning and courage are required to navigate. Taking a risk, being sneaky, going under the radar. Dishonesty may be at play, yours or someone else's. A bold theft. And somebody trying to take something away from you, trying to control you. Well, I mean, but the other side of this, I mean, if we're looking to this, deception is revealed, plans falling apart, risk proves to be too great, paying the price. So you make a bed and you lie in it, right? Theft revealed and the objects returned, going back to the scene of the crime. Right? Since we clear out all of that and expose all of the things that have been hidden and do the work, right, then we can step into this point, keep our North Star at bay, and then we'll have harmonious relationships. Right? We have to do the work. You have to be honest with yourself. You have integrity. You have to be authentic. To be willing to connect, cooperate. Some compromises there, but you don't. I think there's a difference between compromising in relationships to find neutral territory, even ground, get on the same page, and it's different than being compromised or compromising somebody else in order to get what you want. So you don't want to be compromised or compromise somebody else. Excuse me, implies something very different. We're talking more about cooperation, or I don't know, maybe you've had to compromise things, or maybe you've been compromised in such a way. But hey, that's where you're at. Start from there. Let's pick a fairy and then I'm gonna close this out for the day. There's two here. I opened it up to 40 and 41. 40, honesty. Honesty, compassion, tact, self-deceit. Honesty is very, very important. Having to do with integrity and authenticity. 41, it'll be the retriever. Office of unclaimed property, hopes and wishes, loyalty. I think that's kind of speaking about that last card too. Anything that's been taken from you will be returned, or the theft part of it, it's going to be resolved. Getting back something that you've lost. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to getting back something that I've lost. I don't think I need to go into that one. But protector, safeguards lost hopes. Reminding you of something you've lost, a hope, perhaps, or a dream. Ooh, I thought about dreams too, but we'll talk about dream tomorrow since it's Martin Luther King Day. So I had a dream, right? We can talk about that there. You may have thought it was gone forever, but he's holding it out to you for reconsideration. There's that thing again, rethinking, reconsideration. Nothing we need to do but open our hearts and our minds to it. Okay, so honesty. Look at this guy. Just look at him. Could you doubt for a moment that he sees you just as you are and loves you anyway? Imagine that. Somebody loving you for who you really are. In plant form, which is how we may see him most often, honesty makes lovely purple flowers in the spring and later on produces those silvery white circular seed pods like small images of the full moon. Sorry, this sound. Yes. He's like, sorry. I start counting at repetitive sounds. Out. And so, like, the sound of a dog licking is one of the things that irritates me the most, because it's just, and it's really distracting because they start counting repetitive noises. I had to get the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I gotta get that in the head. Sorry. These little earth moon seed pods remind us to reflect upon our reactions. There's that again. Reactions and feelings, to throw light into our darknesses and to deal honestly with ourselves and others. Honesty's other botanical names are moonwort, satinflower, silver dollar, moneywort, dollar plant, pennyflower, bulbinac, and on Monday, the moon's day, he is Lunaria annua. Tomorrow's Monday, tomorrow's moon day. Moon day, talking about dreams, moon dreams. Maybe that will be tomorrow's theme. If I can get to it. I gotta make it tomorrow. I'm doing some other stuff, so if I have time, I will. No, we might have to do it Tuesday. Anyway. Honesty is said to repel monsters. I don't have any monsters handy to check this out on, but I can certainly see the metaphorical truth in it. He is also known as Unchew the horse. Horses, again. Hello? Go look at the comments from yesterday's video. In the comments I put down the like metaphysical meanings of horse. You can look up symbolism of horse, metaphysical meaning of horse too, and like find deeper meaning in it. Unchew the horse, because of his habit of unchewing horses who tread upon him. A very fairy thing to do, and who can blame him? He is said to have collected 30 horseshoes from the horses of the Earl of Essex on the White Downs in Devonshire near Tiverton. Let that be a lesson to you not to tread honesty underfoot. A lot of luck. Lots of luck. I mean, if you're honest and authentic and truthful and in integrity, you'll have a lot of luck. Not being in that space of honesty right now is not gonna work out in your favor. It's just not the way everything's lining up. If anything is dishonest, it's gonna be cleared away. On a personal level, wait, hold on. Honesty in a reading speaks unsurprisingly of the need for straight dealing and truth and representation. There's that thing again. We need to be scrupulously honest here, making certain that there is no room for confusion or misunderstanding, no fuzzy edges. Both written and verbal agreements need to be completely clear. Written and verbal agreements need to be very clear. Assumptions may not be as well understood by all parties as we are assuming, and they need to be tested for comprehension. Assumptions make asses out of you and me. On a personal level, honesty reminds us not to only be clear in what we say and do, but also to act and speak with compassion and tact. Speaking with compassion and tact is really important. There are a lot of people who are just like talking to other people and there's no compassion, there's no tact, they're just rude, and it's not okay. Ego. Brutal honesty is not usually true honesty at all, but somehow slanted toward the worst. I don't want to be brutally honest with somebody and hurt them. That's not nice. It's not okay. It's not going to create harmony. You want to harmonize the situation. So have compassion and use tact and be understanding of the fact that other people have different perceptions and perspectives and viewpoints than you do. Dishonesty, even in the name of tact, is not helpful either. Like white lies, it's not helpful. Just telling somebody what they want to hear to please them, that's not okay. Balancing on that fine line of loving honesty may take some effort, but will provide rich rewards. Honest humility, idealism, and clarity of mind are of some of the advantages of honesty. Honesty asks us, are we being truly honest with ourselves? Where are you at on your path? Are you being truly honest with yourself or not? You can know through muscle response testing. Your body will tell you yes or no. I mean, if it's a no, whoosh, you'll feel it. If it's a yes, your body will confirm. If it's a no, whoosh, your body will tell you. Your body is wise. This is a very, very smart meat suit that can inform so much of the mind to build such a great spirit. We may think we are, but finding honesty standing on its head in a reading indicates that we may well be deceiving ourselves in some way. The human psychological mechanisms, repression, denial, projection, displacement, etc., may be in play. We need to look carefully at our attitudes and beliefs, especially where our emotions are strongly involved. We may even need objective, clear-sighted assistance from others in looking at this. Self-deceit leads to anxiety, confusion, a complicated life, and behaving with unfairness or injustice towards oneself and others. Okay, do the clearing work. Let's clear it out with some breath. I want to clear out of this space and go get my little guy. I'm so excited to see him. Oh. 1, in, out. Your body will relax with a shorter in-breath and a longer out-breath. So as long as your out-breath is longer than your in-breath, your body will relax. Ready? Number 3. Clear it, right? Clear it. Reach out to me for personal readings. I got some time this week. I would really like to connect with you one-on-one. Send me like a messenger message or something like that. We'll create a dialogue. Anything else here? I don't think so. Thank you very, 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 very much. Love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Okay?